So, good evening, parents and families. Welcome to our Navigate webinar. This is our extended parent orientation program. We are so excited to be able to provide this resource to all of you as your student is making a big adjustment, a big transition to life on the plains. My name is Meg McGuffin. I work in the first year experience office as a graduate assistant, and this is brought to you by the first year experience department as well as parent and family programs. So before we get started, I want to cover a few housekeeping rules just so that you can get the most out of this webinar and have all of your questions answered. First, I wanted to point out that there is a Q&A feature located at the bottom of your screen. This option allows you to ask questions to the entire group, to make comments, but please keep in mind that unless you ask a specific member of the panel a question, that everyone will be able to see what you write in that area. If you would like to ask only the panelist a question, please use the chat feature, which is also located at the bottom of your screen, the bottom right-hand chat box. You can select specific panelists or all panelists to ask, and we will answer these questions as we receive them, and we will make sure that all of your questions get answered. That's why we're here for you today. You will also see a hand-raising feature. This will let us know that you have a question, but we will not give you the opportunity to ask. We actually recommend that you do use either the chat function or the Q&A function, as we will not be using the raise hand function today. And if you are participating via smartphone or tablet device, there's only one presenter view rather than the panel view. And if you are viewing via computer, you can choose to have either the gallery view where you can see all of the panelists, or simply in presenter view where you see the person who is talking. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Today I'm so excited. We have Dory Weldon here with us to discuss jobs, internships, and study abroad. So Dory, I'm going to hand it to you.
Great, good deal. Well, thank you guys for tuning in tonight, or this afternoon, I guess, to hear a little bit more about how your students can get involved and to hopefully make a little bit of extra money while they're at Auburn, because I know that's a concern on some parents' minds and some students' minds as to how they are going to pay for college and to get some extra funding. So some of the opportunities that I'll be talking about tonight, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Some of the opportunities that I will be talking about tonight will be great opportunities for your student to get some involvement opportunities while they're in college, and then also potentially make a little bit of extra money. So I'll just start off with a little bit about myself. I am a career counselor in the Auburn University Career Center. I've been there a little over a year now. I actually came from Alumni Affairs with Auburn. I graduated from Auburn in 2012 and feel very, very fortunate to still be on the plains and working for one of the best institutions, at least in my opinion. So that's a little bit about myself, but let's go ahead and get started with the presentation. So I titled this presentation, I Believe in Hard Work. As you may know, that's a snippet of a line from the Auburn Creed. And I think students, especially Auburn students, do believe in hard work. And so we at the Career Center are here to help students figure out how they can use their resources on campus to land an internship, to land a job, whether that's a summer job or a part-time job, and then to potentially even study abroad. Oh, and let's see, there we go. I have to use my clicker feature there. So the first thing you may need to know, or your students may need to know about our office, is where we are located. We are in Mary Martin Hall. I'm sure if you attended Auburn University yourself, you may know where Mary Martin is. It was built in 1910, so it's one of the oldest buildings on campus. And it's a beautiful building. We have drop-in hours in the Career Center, Monday through Friday from 9 to 4. So if your student has never been into the Career Center before, please encourage them to come to our drop-in hours. We have them every single day. We actually just extended our drop-in hours this semester because we've had so many students. We've had an influx of students coming into the Career Center, which is great, and we love it. We just had to expand our hours a little bit. So 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, those are the hours that your students can drop in and ask any kind of question they may have. I know tonight we're specifically talking about jobs and internships and study abroad, but at the Career Center we cover a wide gamut of resources for your student. We do resume reviews, mock interviews for student organizations, professional schools, full-time jobs, We help with job search techniques, really anything that they need related to their professional career. We will be thrilled to help them with that. Also, I listed our website on this slide, auburn.edu/career, and I'm actually going to pull up that website at the end of this presentation to show you guys some of the resources that we have on there, some that you can hopefully point your students towards too. Unfortunately, since Mary Martin was built in 1910, we are not a very accessibility-friendly building. We don't have an elevator, and there's no way for them to install an elevator in our building at this point. So if your student has any accessibility concerns, or maybe they have a friend who wants to come in who has accessibility concerns, we meet students on campus quite often. So we will meet your students where they are. Please tell them, do not feel discouraged if they feel like they could not make it to our office. We will meet them where they are. We are happy to do that. So direct them to Mary Martin Hall to drop-in hours Monday through Friday from 9 to 4, and we'll get them started. So I thought I'd start off with a little bit of a statistic for us tonight. 92% of hiring managers prefer to hire new graduates with some type of experience. And I'm sure as you've completed your job search process, potentially when I was completing mine, I remember seeing all the time on job descriptions that they prefer to have or to hire students or recent graduates who have 2 to 3 years of working experience. And I remember thinking, well, how in the world am I supposed to get 2 to 3 years of working experience when I literally just walked across the stage with my diploma? And the way to build that experience is exactly some of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight in the webinar. So you'll see on this slide, through internships and co-ops, service opportunities, leadership roles, study abroad, and either part-time or summer jobs. Those are things that employers are going to really value on a resume, and perfect ways to gain those years of experience that those employers are really going to be looking for when it comes time to applying for a full-time job. The first topic that I wanted to address is internships. This is a popular question that we get asked in the Career Center is, how am I supposed to find an internship? This can kind of be an overwhelming process for students because they don't know where to begin. So we are here to say, hey, we have the resources that you need. Come to our office, we'll walk through those resources for you. I remember when I was in college, I was in the College of Education, so my internship was actually arranged for me through my college, but that's not always the case. I work pretty closely with the College of Human Sciences at Auburn, so a lot of our nutrition dietetics students have to find their own internships, apparel design, things like that. They really have to take ownership of the internship search process. And that's fairly common at Auburn. College liberal arts, a lot of those students have to find their own internships. So I'd say it's probably more rare that a college will actually place a student in an internship. So it's very, very important that students know the resources available to them to be able to nail down an internship that's going to hopefully in turn help them get their dream job when they graduate. Internships, as I've listed on this slide, they're the perfect way to gain that applicable experience for your future career. We've seen students do a variety of internships, and each internship requirement, what each department will classify as an internship is different among every department. Some departments at Auburn could potentially count like a 2 to 3 week internship. They could count that as credit for a student's internship. Some will want a full semester long internship. So I would encourage your students to be sure to check with their department and clarify, make sure they get clarification from their academic advisor as to what an internship for their major specifically looks like, because they'll want to get that clarified probably now, even if they're not thinking about interning for a couple more years. But even if your student is a freshman and they may not be considering interning until their junior or senior year, we tell them that now is the time to start building those relationships with companies and with employers. So by the time they have to find that internship, it's a natural process. They may talk to somebody now from a company that they really want to intern with, and then when it's time to do that internship, they're able to pick up the phone or pull their business card and easily reach out to that person and see if there are any internship opportunities with that company. So now's the time to network and build those relationships. So when it comes time to get that internship, it's a very easy and stress-free process. A few of the resources that I'm going to show you in a little bit to help with that internship search are listed here. Handshake is the first resource that I've listed, and it's going to be one that I'm going to bring up over and over again tonight. It is our new student-employer interface through the Career Center. So if you maybe have heard of Tiger Recruiting Link in the past, we have phased that out, and it is now Handshake. It's brand new as of this year. We just launched it a couple of months ago, and students have already really responded very, very well to it. It is much more user-friendly. It's got more of a social media feel. And it's just really easy to not only find jobs, but also to locate internships through Handshake. So I'll walk you through that process, especially through the internship section of Handshake in just a little bit, so you'll be familiar with what that looks like. And then LinkedIn.com. I'm sure many of you have LinkedIn accounts. I have one myself. I would have never thought about using LinkedIn when I was a student to find an internship, but more and more employers and companies are choosing to advertise their internships through LinkedIn because they realize that students are on social media, they're online. The job search process and the internship process is just moving more and more digital. So the more that they can post those internships on LinkedIn and on different websites, the more they realize that students will respond to those. So if your student does not have a LinkedIn account, or if you don't have a LinkedIn account, I would highly encourage you to create one and to encourage your student to create one. If they need help with creating a LinkedIn account, of course, send them to the Career Center and we can assist with that. We also encourage students to reach out to their departmental contacts when finding internships. One of the best ways and one of the most effective ways that we've seen students locate internships is by either contacting their academic advisor, maybe a professor that they've built a really good relationship with, a student service coordinator or services coordinator within their college. Those are the people and those are the resources that your students really need to be reaching out to and forming those relationships with now. So once again, when it comes time to find an internship, that's going to be somebody that they can immediately go to and say, hey, I'm looking for an internship in this certain field. Do you have any contacts that I could reach out to? Some schools and colleges will even have a full web page listing previous internships that their grads and their students have completed. So definitely encourage your students to check out their college or school's individual website to see what recommendations they may have regarding internships. And then two websites that we have seen students really respond well to for finding internships is internships.com, which is pretty self-explanatory, and then careershift.com. I will show you where CareerShift is linked on Handshake, so you can encourage your students to visit that website. CareerShift is a job search website, but it also lists internships too, so they can actually filter by job type and pull up internships and then search on there. So if your students are using their resources wisely, the internship process and the internship search process should not be too stressful in the long run. We've even seen students now who, and I guess I should back up and say, some academic programs at Auburn will require internships and others will not. So first get your student to check and see, hey, this is my plan of study. Does this involve an internship? We are seeing more and more students who maybe their plan of study does not require an internship, but they're choosing to pursue an internship just to be more competitive in the long run. So if your student says, hey, my plan of study doesn't require this, then maybe encourage them to still pursue one, even if it's over like Christmas break or Thanksgiving break, something that they can put on a resume that will reflect positively for them when they are job searching. Oftentimes we hear students say, well, I'm so overwhelmed with schoolwork, I've got this part-time job, I'm balancing a lot of different things, how am I going to find time for an internship? And we always tell them, you know, you've got spring break, you've got fall break, you've got your holiday break. Those are times where you can set aside maybe a couple of days, couple of weeks. And if that employer is willing to say that you did an internship with them for even a short amount of time, that is something that certainly you can list on a resume. So you may have to kind of get creative with the type of internship. It may be a little bit more unconventional than what most people would do for an internship. But the most important thing is that they're getting in there with an employer, they're getting to see what that employer does on a day-to-day basis, and honestly figuring out if it's a right fit for them as a career. I know when I did my internship in education, I knew for a fact that that was something that I wanted to pursue, at least the field of education, for my career. So it kind of solidified the beliefs that I had about my career. So oftentimes internships can be great for just simply confirming what a student may already know about themselves, but maybe saying, hey, you know what, I didn't enjoy this internship as much as I thought I would, so maybe I should take another look at the career path that I'm pursuing. So we will move along. That's enough about internships for now. We do have, I should mention, we have our internship and part-time job fair on January 25th in the Student Center Ballroom. So if you know specifically that your student is looking for an internship, or they will be in the future, or if they're looking for a part-time job, please direct them to this fair. We will have employers both locally and nationally attending this fair, and I'm sure they would love to speak with your student and network with your student to hopefully align an internship or a part-time job. All right, so speaking of part-time jobs and on-campus jobs, summer jobs, any type of job that your student may need, I added a fun little word in the description below this one. This is, you can also gain applicable experience just like an internship, but oftentimes these positions are paid. That doesn't mean internships are unpaid all the time. Some of them are. Some internships can be paid. But more than likely a part-time job or a summer job or an on-campus job is going to provide a student with a little bit of an income, which is always great. Once again, another great way to search for those part-time jobs or on-campus jobs is through Handshake, which, like I said, I'll show you kind of a tutorial on Handshake in just a little bit. Departmental contacts, once again, going back to your professors, going back to your advisors and asking if they know of any part-time jobs. If your student can find a part-time job that's related to their future career, that's even better, because that is just quality information to list on a resume one day. But you know, they may just be looking for a part-time job to get some supplemental income that is not related to their career, and that's fine too. Their academic advisors, professors, those are great resources to tap into to really nail down a job that they really might love. Of course, we at the Career Center can help students through the job search process, so please send them our way. And one of the best ways that I know personally I have seen Auburn students nail down jobs or part-time jobs is through simply visiting either departments at Auburn on campus if they want to work on campus. If they want to work in the Student Recreation Center, we always tell students, go visit, go by there, dress business casually or business professionally, take copies of your resume, and go meet the people and ask if they have anything available. Or if they want to work around town, you know, go downtown, go to some of these businesses and ask them, come in face to face and ask them if they're hiring. You'll see down here, kind of made a little list of the first thing they need to do is ask if that company is hiring. If they're not hiring, then ask for a referral. Ask for them to refer your student to another company that they may know who is currently hiring. So don't just, you know, if that company says, no, we're not hiring right now, please encourage your student to not get too discouraged, but to say, hey, oh, okay, that's fine if y'all aren't hiring. Do you know of anybody that could potentially have any openings right now? Also, please more than happy to look over their resume before they approach these companies. Use your pitch, use that elevator pitch. So have that 30-second pitch about yourself, why you're interested in working for them, a little bit about yourself. Have that prepared when you go in to visit these companies. and follow up and don't give up. So we tell students all the time, you may go and visit 30 different companies and you may not hear anything back from them. Sometimes it's the most persistent students in following up that will nail down that job. So please tell them, don't get discouraged. It happens all the time. People are busy. They probably have a lot of people applying with them. So don't get discouraged. Follow up with that company, and then hopefully something will turn up from that. So by attending career fairs, using Handshake, and really utilizing those departmental contacts and visiting employers one-on-one, those are the best recommendations that we have for hopefully nailing down a part-time summer job or on-campus job. So this is a fun graph that we like to show in several of our presentations through the Career Center. Why should your student consider getting a job in the first place? We did this, or I should say our graphic designer did this fun graphic to kind of explain the cost associated with college each semester and each year. I like that she incorporated caffeine, because we all know that we rely on coffee sometimes, and your student probably relies on coffee. So just breaking this down and saying, okay, if you're paying $3.50 for a cup of coffee per day, that's $1,176 per year. So just by simply getting a part-time job, you could cover the cost of your coffee for a year. Then of course you've got sporting events, football games, late night snacks, food in general, books and supplies, room essentials. The costs add up, as I'm sure you all are aware of that. So any type of extra income can not only help add that experience to a resume, but can also help prepare them for, hey, you've got these expenses that you're going to have in your life. And when you graduate from college, you're going to have a budget. So learning those essential skills of budgeting now, so when they graduate, they're not trying to figure all that out at one time, but they can have a part-time job in college to hopefully build those skills while they're at Auburn. Studying abroad is the last thing that I wanted to talk about. This is one thing that I really wish I would have done when I was a student at Auburn. I just didn't know too much about studying abroad. I didn't know what the costs associated of it were. Speaking of cost associated with studying abroad, we tell a lot of our out-of-state students, sometimes it's either cheaper for them to study abroad or it may cost the exact same amount of money as a semester tuition at Auburn for them to study abroad, just because out-of-state tuition is so high that studying abroad might be a very, very good and good financial option for them as well. We don't necessarily handle arranging study abroad opportunities through our office, but we work pretty closely with the study abroad office to help give students the information that they need to go on to study abroad. So I've listed the study abroad website here. I'll also show you their website in just a little bit. Their office is located in Foy Hall on campus, and I've also listed their email address down there. So if you want to email them about potential study abroad opportunities for your students, that auab@auburn.edu is where you can reach them. Auburn has a really great partnership with a study abroad program in Italy. We have students studying abroad in Australia. We've got, students all over the globe studying abroad. And as many of you probably know, seeing a study abroad experience on a resume, when a company sees that, not only does that show them that you've been able to have or obtain education in a foreign country, but also that you're willing to be immersed in a different culture and to be around people who are different from you and to learn about different cultures. So you kind of bring that cultural perspective to your resume that I know a lot of companies really value. So thinking about studying abroad in the larger scale, I think it's a really smart decision. If you're financially able to do it, then I think it's a wise decision for students to choose to do that. Some degree programs at Auburn, like Global Studies with the College of Human Sciences, they will have a study abroad experience built into their curriculum. So if your student has a question about studying abroad, they may not feasibly be able to do it because they may not have time to in their specific curriculum, but there are certain curriculums that not only value and allow time for study abroad experiences, but it's actually built into that curriculum. So if your student's interested, tell them to check with their academic advisor, and then we can certainly help them get plugged in with the study abroad office, or the Office of International Programs, I should say, on campus. So next steps from here, things that you can encourage your student to do at this point. Updating their resume is going to be the most important thing right now. So I would tell them maybe tomorrow if they want to come into the Career Center. We'll be there 9 to 4 drop-in hours. Have somebody look over their resume, because they're going to have to use a resume for applying for most of these things that we've talked about today. Elevator pitch. So like I was talking about earlier, right when they're going to meet with these companies, they need to have just like a 30-second snippet of who they are, what they're interested in, what they're studying right now at Auburn, why they're interested in working for that company. Those are typical things that'll be in a 30-second elevator pitch. Attending career fairs, like I mentioned, the internship and part-time job fair. We have a lot of career fairs that we help out with each semester. Those are all posted on our website, so I'll show you that in just a little bit as well. Doing that in-person search, going to visit companies, finding out about opportunities they may have with specific companies, utilizing Handshake to find internships and jobs, and I'll talk more about that in just a little bit. Really understanding that it's important to balance their time. So realizing that, hey, you know, if I take on a part-time job that's 20 hours a week, how many hours do I need to allot for studying a week? How many hours do I need to allot for extracurricular activities? Making sure that they actually have time to do these extra things, so they're not overwhelmed and their grades aren't slipping. So really evaluating their schedule and planning out what a typical week would look like for them. And then visit the Career Center. We would love, love, love to see your students and talk them through this entire process. Any questions that they may have, we would be happy to help with. So as I mentioned earlier, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and talk more about Handshake and a few of the other resources that we have at the Career Center. So let me pull up my web browser here. All right, expand this. Ooh, come back. All right, so let me actually go to our website first. So this is our Career Center website, auburn.edu/career. This is where really everything that I've talked about today can be found on our website. So specifically Handshake. This is where your students can log into Handshake. Right here, every Auburn student has a Handshake account already. They just have to log in with their Auburn username and password. So the same username and password they use to get into Tiger Mail or AU Access, that's what they'll use to get into Handshake. When they log in and when they set up their account, this is what it'll look like from a student's perspective. So over here on the left-hand side is what they will probably be interested in looking into as far as internships go.
Dory, I am so sorry to interrupt you. It is still on the PowerPoint screen on my computer.
Oh, it is. Let me see. Hang on.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. Oh, wait. Here we go. Let me move this. See if this works. I forgot to switch it over.
That is perfect. Better? Thank you. Okay, I'll do it myself again.
No, interrupt me anytime. All right, so this is Handshake, and let me actually hop back over here to our website so you'll see that again. Here is where you log in with our Auburn username and password. This is the Career Center website, which will direct you to Handshake. So once they log into Handshake, this will be the home screen that they come to. Then they can go over here to internships. This will pull up every internship that we, active internships that we have in Handshake right now. So over here, you will see we have 506 internship opportunities available with 11 co-op opportunities. Students can kind of filter through these internship opportunities by a variety of different things. So they can look at, they can search by their major and see what companies have internships specifically related to their major. They can look at employer industry, the employer themselves. There's a lot of different things that they can search by, and it's very user-friendly. So if your student is looking for an internship, definitely send them to Handshake and encourage them to narrow down their search results by these features listed on the left-hand side. If they are wanting to look for part-time jobs or summer jobs, they will come over here, back to this jobs feature over here on the left-hand side. They can narrow it down to job and then part-time. So right now we have 105 part-time jobs posted. These are mine. Keep in mind, these are part-time jobs listed not only in Auburn, but around the US. So if they want to narrow down by a location, let's see if we have any part-time jobs. Yeah, so 49 part-time jobs right now in Auburn, Alabama. This does not mean that your student, will be qualified for all of these, but they could potentially be qualified for a lot of these in here. So if they're just simply looking for a part-time job, summer job, this is where that will be located in Handshake. And I think that's all I wanted to touch on in Handshake. Those will be the two most important things. And then, of course, if they have any other questions about anything in here, we'll be happy to do a Handshake tutorial for them in the Career Center. Going back over here to our, actually, I take that back. Let me go back here to Career Shift, or show you where that is linked. Over here under recommended resources, this is just a good place to send your student if they are wanting to learn more about some of the resources that we have with our office, as well as within the College of Business. I should mention too, the College of Business is the only college on campus that has their own career center. So the College of Business has the Office of Professional and Career Development, and they can help business students. We serve the rest of the campus population. They specifically serve business students. Handshake is shared between both of us, so that's why you'll see some business things popping up in here. So this is Career Shift. I won't pull it up. It's very, very simple to figure out. But if your student is wanting to look for a job or an internship, Career Shift is another great resource for them. One of my favorite resources that I wanted to be sure to touch on tonight was LinkedIn. As I mentioned earlier, it's becoming a very, very popular way for employers to advertise their internships and even jobs, of course. One fun feature of LinkedIn that you may not be aware of is that you can actually connect and find Auburn alumni across the U.S. Who are in various different jobs and various different roles. So if you go to here to my network, I just clicked on Find Alumni. This will pull up all 123,257 alumni who have a LinkedIn account. And you can narrow it down by a variety of different things. So let's say, for example, your student is interested in maybe finding an internship or even a job when they graduate in the greater Atlanta area. You can narrow down by Atlanta. And let's say, for example, if they wanted to work at EY, you can see, of course, we're going to have a lot of accounting students at EY, but you can see kind of how the breakdown is formed of what departments or what areas students are working in. Then you can see, if you scroll down, you can see the actual alumni who are in these positions. So you can see what year they graduated from Auburn, what they're currently doing with EY, and if your student specifically wants to intern with EY or if they want to work for them one day, we encourage students to reach out and connect with some of these alumni on LinkedIn. It's not creepy. I know sometimes students feel very awkward connecting with people they don't know, but that's the purpose of LinkedIn. It's professional networking. Connect with these people. You already share that common bond that you have attended Auburn University. So connect with them And don't start off by saying, you know, I'm looking for an internship or I'm looking for a job. Start off by asking them maybe how they got to where they are today or what they like about their job. Or if your student is interested in learning more about the Atlanta area, maybe ask this person on LinkedIn if they have recommendations on where to live in Atlanta or adapting to life in Atlanta, how it's different from Auburn. Go ahead and just tell them to start just a natural conversation with some of these alums and see if they respond. And if they do, later on down the road, once they've been chatting on LinkedIn, encourage them to ask them about internships, ask them about opportunities with their company. And we have seen a lot of students find success in just simply reaching out to random alumni on LinkedIn. It's a little bit of an unconventional way to think about approaching an internship or a job search, but it's one that's very effective because you're already getting that personal interaction that sometimes you're lacking in a job search. You know, you're not always going to hear back from companies that you apply with. So by doing a more unconventional search on LinkedIn, you're going to ensure that you're talking to somebody, you're talking to a person, and that you can send them their resume and start building that relationship with that person, which will benefit your student in the long run. So definitely tell them about linkedin.com/alumni. And if their university is not set to Auburn, they can change that over here on the right-hand side. The last thing that I wanted to show you on LinkedIn is just simply using the search feature to search for, let me actually go back to the home page to show you how to do this, to search for companies. So let's go back to, let's say that your student wanted an internship with PwC. You could pull up PwC's company page, follow them, follow their page on LinkedIn, and then go down here. You can see if they have internships or jobs available. Oftentimes companies will post that information on LinkedIn on their company page. So encourage your students, get on LinkedIn, make sure their profile looks great, make sure they've got a professional picture. We'll be happy to help them build their LinkedIn account, and then really encourage them to start connecting with some of these companies and with some of these people that they see on LinkedIn. And the last thing I wanted to be sure to show you was the Auburn Abroad website. I know the last thing that I talked about in the presentation were study abroad opportunities. This is going to be where students will be directed to if they come to our office. We can provide them with some information, but we can also show them, hey, here's where you really need to come to find out more about study abroad opportunities. So if they come over here to learn, they can learn, you know, why should I study abroad? Where do I need to start? There's a lot of different options when it comes to studying abroad. So this will help them maybe narrow down some of those options. They can explore the different program types and opportunities within studying abroad, and so on and so on. They can click through this website and just learn more about it in general. So that is more about the study abroad website. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the last slide of my presentation, which is the questions slide. And I wanted to be sure to link my email address on there. If any of you have any questions, or if your student has any questions, please be sure to give them my email address, give them our office information. Be sure to tell them to check out our website, which is auburn.edu/career, and we will be more than happy to help them with anything they may need regarding their professional development and then hopefully getting a job upon graduation. So do we have any questions? I know that was a lot of information.
All right, I'm not seeing any questions from, get in the picture a little bit more. There we go. I'm not seeing too many questions from our participants right now, but I do want to introduce you guys. This is Harlan Bailey. He is a student leader here on Auburn's campus, and he will be here to answer a few questions if you guys have any. So Harlan, the first thing I want to ask you is, what would you tell a parent wondering if his or her student should get a job while they're here at Auburn?
Well, it really does depend on your student's time management skills, first off. I know with me personally, I had a job freshman year, and it was kind of hard going from in high school playing sports and having my schedule completely set up for me and then coming to Auburn and, having classes and then having to do stuff like having my job and friendships and stuff like that. So it really does depend on your student. If you feel as though that they should go out and get a job, then they should definitely look for one. If they feel as though that they can't handle that, then there's also other ways to, get money, whether it's through scholarships or anything like that. So.
Awesome. Another question about internships. What should students do about housing during the time that they are pursuing their internship? Whether that be, if it's in Auburn, they probably will live in their residence here. But if they're going to a big city or going somewhere else for their internship, what would you suggest for that?
Usually businesses actually have housing for their students that are doing internships, but it also does depend on where you go. So let's say you're going to Atlanta and you've got cousins or something that live in that area. I would definitely start talking to them about living with them, or if you just have close family members, but then also friends that have family members. I know one of my friends did go to Atlanta and ended up staying with one of my cousins. And so that was just a great experience for her. So.
All right, good deal. Let's talk about study abroad a little bit. I know that you've not studied abroad, but several of your friends have. Is there financial aid available to students who want to study abroad but may not have the means to necessarily do so?
Yes, absolutely. And so through Auburn University, we do have scholarships for study abroad students. And then I know for independently, you can also go out and look for other scholarships. So at the end of the day, if you want to study abroad, you can definitely do that.
Good deal. You have actually worked several jobs during your time at Auburn. Can you talk a little bit about those and tell us kind of your experience with that?
So my first job that I had, like I said, freshman year, I was asked to be a student worker in the College of Agriculture over in Student Services. And that's been a job I've loved since the beginning, just because it worked really well with my time, especially, having 8 to 5, going to classes, and then I know for a couple of hours, I'll just go to work. And then also having that student interaction, because I'm actually planning on going into higher education, and having that experience in the office for the last 3 years has been great for me. And then also helping with my other jobs that I had, like being a head camp group counselor, and having that experience and knowing that I could use that in any field. And I think that those personal skills that you can have from just working a job, especially on campus, having those students or having those older people above you as your bosses, like that'll be huge for when you actually go into the workforce.
Absolutely. Good deal. And can you share a little bit with us about your friend's study abroad experiences? I know you said that your sister is about to study abroad. Tell me a little bit about her process in applying and what she's having to go through now to prepare.
Okay. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing for her is that she's been working on getting a passport and everything, putting all of the, they have that checklist of what you need, and for sure need to have by a certain deadline. And so she's been going through that. I think she just ended or just finished all that up. But then right now she's working on her independent scholarships like I was talking about. And so some of that money is coming through her financial aid or coming through Auburn University, but then the independent scholarships that she needs to have in by a certain date is what she's working on right now. So at the end of the day, study abroad is kind of just making sure that you have your ducks in a row, especially by those deadlines, because those are concrete deadlines. So.
Absolutely. Don't want to miss those deadlines.
Absolutely.
What would you say to a parent who says their student is undecided about their major and they are just terrified that they are wasting their money to Auburn, and they're so nervous that their student is not going to get a job upon graduation?
I think the biggest thing is to have faith in your student, because at the end of the day, they're the ones taking the classes. And if they want to stay in their major, okay, cool. But if you really think that they should change, you should have that conversation with them. Because I know with me personally, being in the agricultural business for a while, like I was thinking, oh, that's kind of what I want to do, but not really. And then again, through those experiences, they're working in the office and doing things like Camp War Eagle. That's where I figured out, like, okay, I want to go into higher education. Okay, I need to change my major, or at least I need to change my focus. And so having that conversation is huge, whether it's you having the conversation or your students' friends, or even just mentors that they have, just talking to them and just sitting down and being like, okay, is this what you want to do for the rest of your life? I know with my parents, they were telling me like, okay, sure, don't have a job when you're in high school, stuff like that, but think about something when you graduate and then you retire like 30 or 40 years later, are you still going to love your job? And at the end of the day, as long as they love their job, they're going to love their life. So.
All right. And also, of course, encourage your student to head to the Career Center, set up an appointment with Dory. Yes. have a little chat and take advantage of their resources. The Career Center is an incredible resource that we have here at Auburn University, and I would highly recommend all parents to encourage their students to take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
And if your student is truly lost with their major, we have career assessments that we can walk them through too, to kind of help direct them and maybe a better suited major for them. But yeah, like they said, just having that conversation with them and making sure that your student's really happy in what they're doing, that's very, very important. But send them on over to us. We'll take care of them.
Awesome. Dory, I did have one final kind of question and thought for you. My name is Tess Gibson. I'm the coordinator of Parent and Family Programs. So working with parents, sometimes I hear these horror stories from colleagues about that over-involved parent, even some that go to interviews with their students, which is definitely not what we want. So Dory, what would you recommend would be a good balance for parents, not only in encouraging their students to take advantage of all these resources, but not pushing them into one area, kind of letting them make that decision alone, but also to supporting them while not overstepping, especially in that interview process?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a tough one because I'm not a parent yet, but I know I was the only child and my parents really wanted to be involved in not only my college process, but my job search process. But ultimately I had to come to the realization that it was my decision. It was my career. And my parents were very, very supportive of that. They were very open to hearing all of my different ideas and what I wanted to go into. But my biggest piece of advice for parents would be, this college is a time for your students to really figure out what they want to do with their life. And ultimately, if they're in a major that they're not happy with, then it could potentially lead to a career that they're not happy with. And we certainly don't want that for them. We want them to find where they really belong and things that they're really, really pleased with in their life. And we want them to be successful in their careers. And of course, when they're happy in what they're doing, then they're probably going to be more successful in the long run. So, and as far as the interview process goes, I know, especially for me, if I ever had like a friend or a parent or somebody with me, it would oftentimes make me more nervous for the interview. I kind of liked having my downtime and time to just think by myself, especially not only having that downtime, but also developing that mindset that like, hey, if something goes wrong in my life, I'm not always going to have my parents there. And as sad as that is to think about, there are going to be times, and there's times now I'm out on my own, I'm married, there's things that I'm encountering that are tough to deal with, adult decisions that are no fun to make. And I've had to learn how to make those decisions on my own without relying on my parents. So the less hands-off I think parents can start to become in college while still supporting their student, it's only going to better prepare their student for life in the long run.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, great deal. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to tonight's Navigate webinar. Our next webinar will take place on November 17th, and we are going to be discussing the stressful season of finals and how your student can prepare themselves for the spring semester as well as their Christmas break at home, or their holiday break at home, I'm sorry. So tune in November 17th. We'll be back at 5:30.